got everyone joining in. So sorry for the delay. We've just had a few tech issues. So just wondering if we could get everybody to mute themselves unless they're speaking would be great. So we just had a few internet issues at the start. Hopefully that is not going to continue and we can get right on with the webinar. So good morning, everyone. Welcome to our monthly business support series webinar. For those of you who haven't met me before, I'm Louise, QSEC Memberships Officer. Also joined today by the lovely Anne-Marie, who joined QSEC earlier in the year as our Marketing and Communications Officer. And it's really great to welcome Eliza Chalmers from Business Chamber Queensland and Meriel Chamberlin from Circle Fibres to share their experience of the EcoBiz program today. The session is being recorded. It would be lovely to see your faces if you're happy to turn your video on, but please ensure that your microphones are on mute other than when you're speaking. Anne-Marie is going to be monitoring the chat for any questions, and we're going to have a Q&A after we hear from Eliza and Meriel. So if you have any questions that you think of along the way, just drop them into the chat and we'll address those at the end. So I'm just going to share the screen with our presentation. Just bear with us one sec. And we'll begin today with the acknowledgement of country. So QSEC acknowledges the traditional custodians of the land and recognises the continuing sovereignty and connection to land and water. We pay respects to elders, past and present, and acknowledge the important role that Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander people play within the QSEC community. I'd now like to introduce Eliza Chalmers from Business Chambers Queensland. Eliza is the Customer Relationship Coordinator for Business Chamber Queensland's EcoBiz program. Building upon her studies in sustainable enterprises, Eliza has worked in the tourism industry as a data analyst and has delivered various ecotourism certification programs. Now working with SMEs, Eliza is guiding Queensland businesses through the EcoBiz program and a more sustainable future. So we'll just stop sharing our screen and invite Eliza to share her presentation with you. If you're good to go there, Eliza.
Yep, just one moment. Sorry, no, I couldn't. So thank you so much for having me today. So I'm just going to talk a little bit about Business Chamber Queensland and the EcoBiz program. So firstly, I'd like to also do acknowledgement of country. I'm presenting today from the lands of the Yagara and Turrbal people. So I pay deep respect to elders past, present and emerging. So Business Chamber Queensland, we put business first. So for 155 years, we have represented business from every industry, every size, in every part of Queensland. So formerly known as CCIQ, Chamber of Commerce and Industry Queensland. We're an independent non-for-profit organisation with rich legacy of putting Queensland business first, providing practical support backed by innovative thinking and powerful advocacy. So we help businesses prosper by supporting, educating and empowering them to capitalise on the extraordinary opportunities offered in Queensland now and into the future. So we are a Chamber of Commerce, so we recognise this is important and the importance of this as a state, nation and a global network. So we help businesses through advocacy work. So we support Queensland businesses by providing practical solutions. Through practical solutions and operating issues. Also through business sustainability, we're actually leading the accelerated adoption of sustainable business practices so Queensland businesses can thrive. And business success, we will always lead on major issues so Queensland can do the best. So Queensland is the best place to do business. And business expansion, we support businesses to take up opportunities not just here, but also overseas. So we also host a variety of events to allow opportunity for Queensland leaders to come together to examine major economic issues, as well as provide the chance for Queensland businesses to build upon their networks. So EcoBiz is a completely free program because it is funded by the State Government, Department of Environment and Science, and it is facilitated by us at Business Chamber Queensland. So it is a win-win for you as a business to reduce the costs of running your business through increasing your sustainability, because it is completely free for you. So we've worked with over 1,000 businesses right across Queensland, and we've seen that participants have made an average savings of 19% of their energy, water and waste costs. If you're a Queensland business that is under 200 full-time employees, you are eligible for the program. We've worked with community associations, sporting clubs, non-for-profits, and many, many SMEs across Queensland. So again, we'd like to stress it is a free program for you, so it really is a win-win. It's also a great way for you to demonstrate your sustainability commitments, through which we found is of increasing importance to customers. So it's a great way to embrace your corporate social responsibility and demonstrate that to your customer base. If you work with ERA fees, it's also one way that you can get a reduction on those fees, and it just makes good business sense. So with the upcoming Olympics and climate change, we are hoping to get Queensland businesses as ready as possible for those future impacts and future changes in policy. Don't underestimate the importance of being ahead of the game in terms of sustainability and being best placed ahead of other businesses. So you can register for the business online, or there will be a QR code at the end of this presentation. One of our customer relationship coordinators will reach out to you, and we will collect some utility bills from you. We will then set up an online coaching session. A coach will come out on site. From that session, you will receive a coaching report, and then it is up to you to start making those changes and implementing those recommendations provided to you. And you can hopefully start seeing savings. We also have the opportunity for you to become star partner in the program, which I will touch on a little bit more, but that has to do with the continuous monitoring and tracking of your consumption once you've submitted those bills to us. And then you can go back through the cycle, and coaching is available to you whenever you like. So we have experts placed all over Queensland. If your region is not represented, that is fine. We often have coaches traveling to do cluster trips, so your location is not a hindrance to your eligibility to participate in the program. So once you've had your on-site coaching session, we will provide you with a coaching report put together by your coach. It will have your current initiatives, what you're already doing really well, some gaps and challenges, and then recommendations. These will usually be low to no costs, and they will be usually quite easy to implement, or the majority of them will be easy to implement. It's a really great way for you to understand your low-hanging fruit and how to set very realistic, manageable goals. So this is where the data comes in. We will help you collect, collate, and monitor your utility consumption for you. All you have to do is send in your bills. We'll set up a baseline for you, and then each year we will keep assessing you against your baseline. If you've made a 10% reduction in your utilities, you will get star partner recognition with us. And that is just a great way to promote what you're doing. You will get a certificate, you'll get a report with a carbon snapshot in it. You will get access to our logo and be invited to networking events with like-minded people. We'll even give you opportunity to do some public speaking if that is your thing as well. So those star partnership reports now include a carbon snapshot. And this is a tool that calculates a business's carbon based on the data that you provide to us. So it enables a business to begin to understand their carbon footprint and start your journey to net zero. Star partners will receive their snapshot as a part of their assessment, and it is a great starting point for you to then build upon this and start carbon footprinting. So you would have heard terms around a lot like net zero, carbon neutrality. This is a great starting point for you as a business, as these terms come up more and more in regulations and policy. So what are carbon equivalents and why do they matter to you and your business? So gases contributing to climate change, also known as greenhouse gases, are converted into carbon dioxide equivalents. And this is representing the global warming potential of these gases. So the Queensland Government has committed to reducing emissions by 30% on 2005 levels by 2030. So every Queensland business has a large role to play in this goal, and understanding what you're emitting is the first step in the process to contributing to this. So net zero is achieving a balance between those greenhouse gases you're emitting going into the atmosphere and the removal of those gases from the atmosphere. So again, this is our carbon snapshot is a great way to start to understand what you as a business is emitting. So yeah, the carbon tool will provide that snapshot, and this is a great starting point. We do not want to confuse this as carbon footprinting. This is just a great place for you to start before you move on to more in-depth programs such as Climate Active or Reforest. So if you are able to provide energy, water, waste bills, any water energy bills from electricity to natural gas, LPG, petrol, diesel, town water bills, waste, as much data as possible, you will get the most in-depth carbon snapshot. So if you're able to provide general waste, commingled recycling, carbon, whatever your contractors' bills that they send to you, you can send to us and we are able to take that data out for you and monitor for you. So I thought I would share some case studies today of businesses that have been through the program and have had quite significant success. So this is a hospitality venue in Corinda. They registered in 2020 and they are already a 3-star partner. They had quite significant staff buy-in when they started, which they attribute a lot to their success. So they were able to complete a full kitchen upgrade with energy efficient equipment and a full LED lighting retrofit. They have consolidated their stock and put in place policies and procedures for proper equipment shutdown. And they have seen a 41% reduction on their electricity bills, 53% on their water rates, and 50% on their waste bills, which is quite impressive. We have a building company in Cairns that is also a 3-star partner and registered in just 2022. So they were able to install a solar system, which now sees them earning more in solar credit than they are paying on their bills, which is very impressive. So that's a 112% reduction on their energy intensity, which is really impressive. But not just that, they've been able to work with their suppliers to actually return some waste, then eliminating a whole waste stream, transitioning to a paperless office and donating scrap wood as well. We have a kindergarten here in Brisbane that registered in the program in 2018. And with the implementation of some of their recommendations, they have been able to implement tamper-proof taps to prevent water theft, rainwater collection. They've actually been able to upgrade and implement more solar. They use skylights and natural lighting. They encourage kids not to bring food waste to the kindergarten, then eliminating more waste sent to landfill. They are able to compost because they've put in worm farms, and they have been able to put in policies that really limit what's coming into the business and then limiting the waste that is sent to landfill. So yes, they've seen a 59% reduction on their water rates and a 42% reduction on their electricity bill. So they've done quite well. So on top of those case studies, what we've seen most come out of our coaching recommendations for you to take away from this today, under energy, we usually see the smallest changes make quite a difference. So adjusting your air conditioning settings, I think the optimal temperature is actually 24 degrees. Investigating solar alternatives, our coaches can certainly help you with that. and being able to identify what appliances and lighting needs replacing. Saving on water, monitoring for leaks is a big recommendation that I don't think you'd realize until you've seen it, how much money it can save you, is just making sure that you're not having severe spikes in your water bills. And we can certainly help with that with the monitoring of your water consumption. Waste, we often see increased waste stream suggestions, and our coaches have quite an extensive knowledge of different schemes that you can get involved with to divert your waste from landfill. And then change behaviour. Implementing a green team is one of the biggest recommendations we see, and a lot of our businesses would contribute having great staff engagement and buy-in as one of their best sustainability initiatives. As I mentioned before, that Business Chamber Queensland, we are here to advocate for business. So if you had the time today, I would really appreciate if we could get some data so that we can understand where you are at on your sustainability journey and how we can advocate for you. If you are able to go to menti.com and type in this code, we would really appreciate your time to just answer the 5 quick questions, and we can help you and continue our advocacy work. So thank you so much. I'll leave that on the screen for just a couple more seconds for you. And this is the QR code if you're interested in registering. Otherwise, you can find me through our website and one of us will give you a call. So thank you so much.
Awesome. Thanks so much, Eliza. There's some really interesting stats in there. I love those case studies. And that sort of gives us a good segue into introducing Meriel. So Meriel Chamberlin from Circle Fibres, one of our QSEC members, has been through the EcoBiz program. So we just thought it might be nice to hear from the perspective of the user of the program to share some insights. So I'll hand over to Meriel now. If you want to unmute yourself, Meriel.
Yeah, okay, thank you. Yeah, hi. So my name's Meriel Chamberlin. I'm in textiles. I've been all my life and been in manufacturing all my life, and rather passionate about sustainability. I also have to declare here that my husband, Andrew Chamberlain, is one of the EcoBiz auditors. So I do know this program well, because it's been running for longer than Business Chamber have been running it, and Andrew. So I'm aware of the program and its benefits long-term as well as recently, I guess should summarize. Did you have any other slides there, Louise, or is it just that one of me?
Your face off if you'd rather.
Yeah, we could just chat. Yeah, so really the main thing is to just talk about how easy it is to engage with the EcoBiz process. So it really is, it's an absolute legendary thing to have access to for free, because you sign up with just those basics, the bills, and then you know, a time gets booked to come out to you. And obviously this is a bit different for me because my husband did all this. But essentially then what happens is all the low-hanging fruit gets looked at. So the benefit of the program is as much as you're prepared to put in, really. And no matter what that is, it might be that you're really time poor and you're going, oh my God, I've got this person coming. But just that, showing them around your enterprise, even if you are just in an office, even if you are just somewhere tiny, there might be little things that are low-hanging fruit that you don't realize that you could do to just save on your power bills or your waste or something like that. And then it's just a mindset to start thinking about avoiding it, which is where we begin to have really big impact. And so then what will happen is you'll get a visit up to about 2 hours. It depends on the shape and size of your business. And from there, you get this snapshot of where you're at and what are those low-hanging fruit to make big changes. So you'll get the list of those behavior changes, which might be as simple as remembering to turn lights off, remembering to turn off aircon in rooms that aren't being needed, or things like that, that just really easy to think it doesn't matter. And I know, even though I work with manufacturers rather than being a manufacturer myself, if any of you ever hear the hiss of air leaking from a compressor, that one little leak can be costing you thousands of dollars a year in your power bill. So it's all those little things that feel like maintenance that don't matter, that can actually really add up. And then from there, what you'll get on your report is also essentially not go out and spend all this money now, but next time you're buying a light bulb, next time you've got an electrician out, next time you're doing this, ask them to look at that as well. So it could be something like, say you have a retail shop and you've got a window area that you keep lit even when you're not there, but it's on a big loop of lights, and the lights might be lighting a whole load of other area that doesn't need to be lit up. If you get those separated onto 2 switches, then you're only using the lights you need to. And this sounds like really little, but over a year, that really adds up to both your carbon footprint and your actual bills. So it's things like that. The other thing that is a massive advantage with the program auditors, the team that have been running it, is because quite a few of them have been doing it for a long time. They'll know in your local area if you've got a particular waste that might be of use to another business. And so they'll also just introduce you as well. It's more than just that basic report. And then finally, I would say it gives you then a hook to begin to look at more. And so especially if you're a bit of a bigger business, or if you've got a bigger footprint, maybe you're manufacturing, or maybe you're doing a food prep or something like that, where you've got a bit more impact. Then it's like, well, what can we do next? Or what are the things worth investing in if we've got a bit of a plan for what we're doing over the next year or next few years, and all the rest of it that then might enable you to be really targeted. And the reason I say that it's a benefit to start with something like the EcoBiz program is, compared with somebody that might be looking to sell you solar panels or sell you a heat pump or this, that, and the other, it is technology agnostic. It is what is going to be the thing that makes sense for your business where it's operating, rather than something someone wants to sell you that's a solution. And it's really good to get that Switzerland kind of advice for anything in this sustainability space. And then from there, that begins you to enable to also look at your carbon footprint, or the footprint of your business operation. That's not necessarily the footprint of all your products. But it just begins that journey. I think that's probably a lot of information I've just garbled out there. Has that sparked any questions, I guess?
Yeah, thanks so much, Meriel. That's really great to hear that perspective about, going through it yourself. We do have a question in the chat, and then we might just throw it open to, the message in the chat is the Menti code. So yeah, if you missed it, that's in the chat. So we might just throw it open to just some general questions. Did anyone have anything they wanted to ask? Oh, yeah. I'll just stop sharing so we can see if anybody wants to put up their hand or shout out a question.
The other thing is, Louise,
in the chat. Sorry, Meriel.
The other thing is, Louise, the link in the chat there, if you wanted to put that on your screen share, is I worked on a project with Business Chamber on sustainability with Queensland Government on circularity. So that was a bit of a move on from the standard EcoBiz program.
Yeah. Excellent.
That little few minutes is what we did together. Yeah. It depends if we've got lots of questions or not.
Yeah, well, we might just watch that. That just might prompt some questions. That just goes for a couple of minutes. And then we do have some questions that people had submitted in their registration, so we can go to those. But yeah, let's just check that out. Won't be a moment. We'll just got Anne-Marie on my tech. Yay.
It's clear.
Can you hear that?
It's clear that we need to be in balance with our world. An awful lot of people that end up sourcing products actually don't really know much about where they're from or what could be different. My name's Meriel Chamberlin. My business is Circle Fibres. I've loved making things all my life, and that led me to study textile science. I've been in supply chain, product development and commercialisation in Europe, in Asia and here in Australia. You spend years in supply chain, working as ethically as you can, when you know that actually you just want to sleep at night and know where every single stage happened. We can't just carry on with the kind of crazy mountains of waste that is involved with fashion, merch, sports, all sorts of industries. So I've decided to just put my money where my mouth was and have a go. paddock to plate was becoming a thing, and I thought, well, what about knowing where your fiber's from as well? That led to a journey of working through all the stages of the chain, hence full circle fibres, so we know where it's from, we know what's happened to it, and we know that what can happen with it at end of life. In Australia, we create about 800,000 tonnes of textile waste a year to landfill, which is a huge number. The minute you think about it, textiles is in every part of your life every day. It's not just about fashion. This stuff's in band-aids and bandages. This stuff's in the stuff that we buy every day. When I started this, circular economy wasn't a term. It used to be called industrial ecology. You had businesses working together. One's waste was another's useful thing. And where can it go at end of life to not be in landfill? We have got a massive opportunity to be exporters of global best practice, net zero and regenerative textiles for the future. When the CCIQ sustainability team called me to let me know that I've been successful as a project participant, it was great because so often actually people don't even realise textiles exists locally, leave alone to actually be part of something where we get to showcase it. So that was awesome. We really do need to think hard about how we make sure we transfer the knowledge and understanding to the next generations and just get behind thinking in decades rather than financial years when it comes to this part of how we want the future to look. What happens after we've finished with it? That's the biggest challenge with circular economy, is stuff for in a single event or a message or half an hour, a few seconds of someone's time. Where does it go next? That's the first question.
Thanks for sharing that, Meriel. It's really great to see. And yeah, like you say, think beyond the financial year into the future. And I think this is a great thing about this program. Like you say, Eliza, it's those small changes that can make a big impact. We do have a couple of questions. Do you offer virtual sessions, Eliza, or is it always someone going out into the workplace to undertake the assessment?
Yeah, we can offer virtual sessions if you are a sole trader and works from home, or it is just what you prefer. We can certainly do that.
Cool. Now we had a question from one of the participants, from Adele. Do you assess the quality of resources that we sell for eco-friendly tiny homes, or only resources that our businesses uses for our operation? And maybe Adele, did you want to add anything further to that, or?
Yes, hi everyone. So I'm just, our social enterprise is working on helping to tackle the housing and mental health crisis, going with eco-friendly glamping tent home bundles. So that includes decks, floorings, coverings, and so one of the research that we're conducting is hemp coverings to help replace plastic as such, or all the things. And so that's my question is, do yourselves assess products that we sell, or is it only resources that we use for operations like computers, power, etc.? That's my question.
Yeah, thank you. So we don't assess that at the moment. It is only the consumption that the utilities that you are using. But if you want to get recognised for initiatives that you have in place, it would be great for your business, but also an opportunity to meet a coach who is in your industry as well.
Thank you. So do people need to be a member of Business Chamber Queensland in order to participate in the program?
They don't need to be. I mean, it is great to always be a chamber member, but no, you don't need to be to participate. There is no catches. It is completely free. So.
Okay. And you talked about the star partnerships earlier. How long are they valid for?
They're valid for a year. So we will keep collecting that data for you and maintaining your monitoring in case it comes to grants or tenders or anything like that, and you need evidence of sustainability reporting. We keep it for that year.
That's actually a really good point, because a lot of our members are often applying for grants. So in that process, how is this, having done this program, an advantage to them? Is that something they can leverage in their grant applications?
Absolutely. So in grants, tenders, all that sort of stuff, they usually would ask for some sort of evidence that you are sustainability reporting, keeping an eye on your consumption or some sort of recognition. And this is, again, a free, really easy way to get that. But also that one-on-one consultation with the sustainability expert can certainly, it won't hurt your application.
Just on that, I think in a QGov tenders, they ask if you're EcoBiz participants.
Okay.
And for example, this may not like to maybe anybody on this, but for example, the need for businesses to be able to report on their carbon footprint, of which this is just a step one. For example, Woolies about 4 months ago asked their entire supply chain to have their carbon footprint done in 4 months.
Wow.
Yeah. So the speed at which this is becoming part of just the credibility of being a B2B supplier, or it's not so much going to be a bonus, it's going to be a necessity to be on this journey. So this is a really helpful way to start that if people are just beginning to think about it, or just getting big enough to begin to think about it as well.
And so, Eliza, can you tell us a little bit about the length of time it takes from, so if someone was to contact you today about undertaking the program, sort of what's that timeline look like?
Yeah, so if you registered today, you would probably have someone call you today. Unfortunately, we have delivered all we can deliver for this financial year. So we'd set you up with a coaching session in July. And then from that coaching session, at most, it would be 2 weeks to get your report back, but usually it's within the same week.
Okay, so it's not a lengthy.
No, certainly not.
And beyond that year with the STAR partnerships, how that's valid for a year, is there anything you can continue on to do following that first year?
Yeah, absolutely. So we will continue to check in on you, make sure that you've got all the resources you need. If there's any additional questions you have on those coaches' recommendations, usually after a year, we would recommend checking back in with your coach if you believe that you've already achieved all your recommendations, or maybe you need some additional building blocks on those recommendations to get there. So yeah, we'd keep checking in, maybe suggest another coaching session, and then also continue with the monitoring of your data for you.
And we just had a question in regard to eligibility. So are sole traders eligible? You did mention there was a number of employees criteria as well.
Yes, sole traders are certainly eligible. We can discuss ways of how to monitor your consumption if you see hurdles there. But also recognition through best practice initiatives is also really important. And yep, virtual sessions are definitely available if you are working out of home. We've seen quite a build in our sole trader community signing up for the program. So it's really exciting to see, you know, people with the smaller businesses with the sole traders getting quite a bit of groundswell. So it's exciting.
That's great. Well, they're not only saving money, but just making a
wanting to make a difference.
So that's awesome. Did anybody else have any questions that they wanted to ask Eliza? Just do. In the meantime, I was just curious, maybe if you could give a bit of an overview. So BCQ has recently had a name change. Is it just a name change? Is there anything that you'd like to tell our members about? Any benefits you think they should be checking out, or?
Yeah, it's a name change. It's also just a realigning of our visions and our missions, is that we want to just really prepare Queensland businesses, you know, for the opportunities that are coming this way. We want to get Queensland businesses best placed to be getting these opportunities. Also, we have completely restructured our membership services. So if there's something you're interested in, we really have honed in on what you might be looking for at very different business sizes and different levels. So it's definitely worth getting in touch if you've ever thought about membership. Some really fantastic membership opportunities are coming out in networking. We've been putting on a lot more events. So yes, it's definitely worth getting in contact if you've ever been interested.
That's great. And there is a link in the chat for Business Chamber Queensland if anyone is interested in exploring that further. Did anyone else have anything else they wanted to raise while we have the experts in the room? Hi Pushpa, how are you?
Good, thanks. Hi Lewis, how are you?
Good. Thanks for joining us. Is there something you wanted to ask?
Yeah, just a quick question. So I sit as company secretary for one of the chambers here. And is this something that you're going to be looking at the chambers promoting as well, or do they just come through BCA?
Yeah, it is. Yeah. So we've been building upon our networks of who we are working with and how we are getting word out. And yes, we're definitely looking into that.
Thank you.
And of course, your chamber will be one of the first women targeted.
Yes, they will be, Paul. You again.
Lovely. Well, it's been really great to hear about the program. We've got the link there in the chat. As I mentioned at the beginning, we have recorded the session, so that'll be put up on the QSEC website for our members who weren't able to make it today as a resource for the future. And it's just been really great to hear some more about the program. It just sounds like, why wouldn't you do it? So I encourage everybody to either, check out the link or reach out to us. We can put you in touch with Eliza. But it certainly seems a really great opportunity to me, making a difference. So thanks to everyone who joined us. It was really great to see some faces. We know some people who have registered can't make it last minute, and we really appreciate that. But just some messages in the chat that they've, oh, somebody's just on BCQ. Good on you, Delwyn. Sounds like some really great resources there, and yeah, it's been really good to hear some more about the program. Thank you so much, Meriel, for giving your insights. It's always great to hear someone at the other end, like to have both those perspectives, and it's clearly not a sales pitch because it's free, remember? So definitely not a sales pitch, just a really good program, and it's been a really important opportunity to get that out to our members, make them more aware of that. So thank you so much, Eliza, for joining us, and Meriel. And thank you for everyone for your positive comments in the chat there. Glad you found it informative and useful. So thank you, everybody. Have a great day. Thank you.
Thank you.